The cracked soil crunched under Amir's boots as he trudged back from the field, hands blistered and empty. Another day wasted. The crops hadn't sprouted, again. The sky had forgotten to rain. His goats were skin and bone, and the well gave up more dust than water now. His wife hadn't said a word during dinner. Not that there was much to eat, just dry bread and boiled roots. Their children, tired and thinner by the week, tried to smile but couldn't hide the hollowness in their eyes. Amir sat alone on the porch that night, the kerosene lamp casting long shadows over his worn-out face. He stared at the stars, asking questions no one ever answered. Just then, a truck pulled up, its headlights slicing through the dark. A man stepped out, tall, suit slightly wrinkled, too clean for these parts. He introduced himself as Kamal, said he worked for certain people in the city. And then came the offer. "There's a body," Kamal said. "Needs burying." Quietly. No questions. Amir stiffened. "I'm no killer." "She's already dead," Kamal said with a shrug. "You dig a hole, put her in, cover it up. That's all. We pay you 10 times what your land's worth." Amir stared at the wad of cash. It could buy medicine, seeds, food. He could get the plow fixed, the roof patched, maybe even shoes for the kids. His stomach twisted, but his hands reached out anyway. He didn't sleep that night. Guilt gnawed at him like termites in wood. But by morning, with the cash tucked into his coat, Amir hitched his mule to the cart and rode toward the edge of nowhere, toward a shallow field where the earth waited for something it didn't deserve. The field lay in silence, abandoned long ago, nothing but brittle weeds and broken stones. The wind carried a chill, whispering secrets through the dry grass. Amir's cart creaked to a stop at the edge of the clearing. Kamal was already there, standing beside a burlap sack that looked no different than the ones Amir used to haul potatoes. Except this one was motionless. Too still. Kamal didn't speak. He just nodded at the sack, then at the shovel leaning against a rock. "That's her," he muttered. "You know what to do." Amir's eyes dropped to the bundle. It was small. Light. He could almost convince himself it wasn't a person. But then a strand of hair slipped from the opening. Long dark. A bruise peeked from her temple. She was young. His throat tightened. Kamal shoved a roll of bills into Amir's hands. "No one asks. No one tells. That's the deal." Without waiting for a reply, he walked back to his truck, the engine roaring as it disappeared into a cloud of dust. The silence that followed was deafening. Amir stood there, frozen. This wasn't what he thought. She looked barely older than his eldest daughter. He wiped sweat from his brow, heart pounding. He hadn't signed up to bury a girl. He didn't know what he thought. Maybe someone old. Already prepared for death. Not this. Still, he couldn't walk away now. The money was in his pocket. His family needed it. His hands shook as he grabbed the shovel and stepped toward the open patch of ground. He drove the blade into the earth. Dry soil crumbled away. Again. And again. Then, just as he raised the first shovelful of dirt to scatter over her, she moved. Amir dropped the shovel with a sharp clatter, his breath catching in his throat. The sack twitched again, this time unmistakably. His body went rigid. The world seemed to stop spinning. He blinked once, twice, heart pounding against his ribs like a hammer. Maybe it was a trick of the wind. A dying nerve. That's all. That's all. Then it happened. The burlap shifted, slowly. A pale hand slipped out, trembling like a leaf caught in the wind. And then, her face turned. Her cracked lips parted. Eyes fluttered open, unfocused and heavy. "Help," she whispered. Amir stumbled back, nearly tripping over the shovel. The sack was supposed to hold a corpse. Not a living, breathing girl. His first instinct was to run. Run from this cursed field, from this cursed choice. But her voice anchored him. Fragile. Desperate. Human. He hesitated. She tried to move again, weakly lifting her head before it fell back with a soft groan. Her skin was ghostly pale, her face smeared with dirt and dried blood. Whoever had left her here had meant for her to vanish, forgotten, unmarked, like she'd never existed. But now she was looking at him. Not quite seeing, but pleading. Don't leave me. Amir's hands trembled as he knelt beside her. His heart thundered, caught between terror and instinct. He placed 2 fingers to her neck. A pulse. Faint, but real. He could still walk away. No one knew. No one would ever find out. But his conscience screamed louder than his fear. I've got you, he whispered, scooping her into his arms. She was light, too light. She didn't resist. Amir rushed to his cart, laying her gently on a wool blanket. Covering her face, he glanced back at the half-dug grave and the shovel buried in dry earth. He wouldn't bury her. He would save her. No matter the cost. Amir drove through the back paths, avoiding the main road, his hands white-knuckled on the reins. The girl, Zara, she'd murmured once before falling unconscious, lay motionless in the back of the cart, wrapped in his old coat. Every bump in the path made her moan softly, each sound twisting deeper into Amir's guilt and fear. He shouldn't be doing this. If Kamal found out, if they found out. But he couldn't let her die. He reached his farm at dusk. The children were playing near the barn, their laughter rising like music in the fading light. Amir barked for them to go inside. His voice, usually kind, was sharp enough to scatter them. His wife looked out from the kitchen window, confusion in her eyes. He shook his head once, firmly. Not now. He pulled the cart straight into the barn, shut the doors behind him, and climbed the wooden ladder to the loft. Nestled between bales of hay and old tools was a small corner he once used for naps during harvest. He laid her there, tucked straw around her for warmth, and gently tilted water to her lips. She stirred, coughed, then slept again. That night, he told his wife everything. Tears welled in her eyes, but she didn't scold him. She simply nodded and began boiling herbs. Together, they nursed Zara, hiding her, feeding her, treating the bruises on her face and the cuts on her wrists. It was slow. It was dangerous. But it was the right thing. Days passed. Zara began to speak in full sentences. She had no memory of how she got there, only flashes, men shouting, a needle, a cold room. Sometimes she woke up screaming. Amir would sit beside her and offer water until she calmed. One morning, as the rooster crowed, Amir spotted 2 black SUVs idling down the dirt road beyond his field. Men in suits stepped out, scanning the landscape. They're looking for her, his wife whispered. Amir locked the barn, pulled a rug from the floor, and lifted a hatch that led to an old storm cellar. Go, he told Zara. She didn't hesitate. Weeks passed in tense silence. Zara remained hidden in the storm cellar by day, only emerging after nightfall to stretch, breathe fresh air, and help Amir's wife with chores under the stars. Her strength slowly returned. So did her memory. One night, sitting by the fire in the barn, she turned to Amir, her eyes steady. My name is Zara Alvi, she said quietly. My father is Farouk Alvi. Amir froze. The name was familiar. Farouk Alvi, the billionaire philanthropist, owner of textile factories and media empires. He runs a charity, Amir said slowly, for women's shelters and missing girls. Zara gave a bitter smile. He does. But he's the reason they go missing. She remembered everything now. How she'd uncovered evidence of a trafficking network buried beneath her father's companies. She had confronted him. He had smiled, then ordered her silenced. The men who drugged her were his. The officials, the doctor who signed her death certificate, they were all bought. I was supposed to disappear, she whispered. And I almost did. Amir's fists clenched. Every instinct told him to stay out of it. But he'd already made his choice in that field, shovel in hand. I know someone in the city, Amir said finally. A reporter. Old friend. Doesn't owe favors. But she's honest. They took a risk. Amir drove her to the city under the cover of darkness. The reporter listened, took photos, scanned hospital records, traced names, and cross-checked documents Zara barely remembered signing under sedation. Within days, the story exploded. Zara Alvi, missing heiress, found alive. News cameras rolled. Protesters flooded the streets. Government officials were arrested. Farouk Alvi fled the country. His empire crumbled. But Amir refused interviews. When reporters swarmed his land, he simply said, I just dug a hole, and chose not to fill it. Zara, now free, used her inheritance to create something better, a sanctuary for survivors, and a foundation that helped protect the vulnerable. She offered Amir anything, money, a new house, a better life. He declined. I just want to farm in peace, he smiled. Maybe grow something that lasts. So she built a well on his land. And beside it, a plaque that read, To the man who chose to save, not bury.